Welcome back to The Mind of Brandon. Today we're going to be talking about a resource-based global economy, or in other words, heaven on earth. So what's so special about a resource-based economy? Why do I think it would basically be heaven on earth? Well, as I mentioned in the video just prior to this one, traditional concepts of heaven are of a paradise. There's no war, crime, poverty, starvation, slavery, overpopulation, pollution, right? And so if we could implement a system here on earth that did away with those problems, well, it'd basically be like heaven on earth. Right? That said, I did not come up with this idea myself. I first heard about this while watching a documentary that interviewed an individual called Jacques Fresco. He's a 100-year-old social engineer and industrial designer, and he's the founder of an organization known as the Venus Project. That said, if you guys are done with this video, you're interested in learning more about the Venus Project, Jacques Fresco, and a resource-based economy, then you can go to thevenusproject.com, or you can just watch a bunch of videos on this stuff right here on YouTube. It's safe to say that YouTube has a whole shitload of videos on this subject. There's a bunch of different documentaries, some of which were made by Jacques Fresco himself. He's also made a whole bunch of different lectures. He's been on the news, talk shows, radio shows. Yeah, YouTube has an abundance of information on this subject, and it's all available without a price tag. That said, I want to tell you a story. It takes place around 80 years ago when Jacques Fresco was in his 20s. Basically, he got on a boat, headed off to the Tuamotu Islands, because he wanted to know what it would be like to live amongst people that were not raised in our way of doing things. And when he got there, he was amazed. Everyone walked around nude. They've been doing that ever since they were little kids, so they're used to seeing naked bodies. But Jacques brought with him a whole bunch of mirrors and beads to hand out to the natives to establish rapport. But when they saw all his mirrors and beads, they just started taking them. And that kind of bothered him. He asked, "Why are you taking all my mirrors and beads?" And they told him, "Well, you got too many." And that's true, he really did have a lot of mirrors and beads. But he didn't really get it until the next day when he saw them bringing in nets full of fish, and they started just kind of handing fish to anyone standing there. No one had to pay anything, there was no swap. Fresco asked them, "What do you want in exchange for the fish?" And they didn't know what he was talking about. They're not raised in that way of doing things. This is a culture with no money. They do not do trade. They have no concept of private property. Basically, there's people that need to be fed, so they're feeding them. So Fresco got to eat food that he didn't have to pay for. They made him a boat he didn't have to pay for. The chief was willing to share his wives. I don't know about you guys. I think this place sounds freaking awesome. But one of the things he saw while he was there, he got the chance to see the natives make love. They'd be, 13, 14 years old, making love on the beach right in front of everyone, right? Nobody cared. Huh? But what he noticed is that the male would stroke the whole female. There's no fetishes. There's no tit men, leg men, ass men. Fetishes in our culture are learned, right? Because we're a clothed culture, right? That's at least part of it. If everyone in the United States went around with their nose covered, then when someone took that covering off, it get a reaction kind of similar to when a guy sees a woman take her top off, right? It's like, oh, things are getting interesting now. Damn, look at the curves on that nose. Right? That's how it works. So this culture is very different. But, the system they had going, it worked really well. There's a peaceful society. There's no crime. They took care of each other. They shared the abundance of resources that was available without a price tag. They really had their shit together. But this was around the time of World War II. And the war did kind of start creeping up on these islands. And Fresco decided, it's probably about time to get the fuck out of here, right? So he took off. And unfortunately, this place has been forever changed. If you go there today, it's not going to be the same place it was back then. But Fresco says that the system they had there is a resource-based economy. So what he's proposing is that we take something like that and we apply it on a global scale. Basically, we'd be declaring the earth and its resources as the common heritage of all the world's people. And so this means that everyone, all over the world, would have access to food, clothing, shelter, medicine, education, transportation, entertainment, plumbing, electricity, etc. Everyone all over the world, regardless of where they live, age, race, gender, they'd all have access to that stuff without a price tag. Okay, so part of what that means is that everyone all over the world would be updated to present day knowledge. They'd be given access to the most up-to-date technology, right? And so we're looking at a world where if there's ever a job that no one wants to do, really shitty jobs that people are only willing to do if you pay them, those jobs can be done by machines. People don't have to do those jobs. And they don't have to worry about, what do I do for money? Because anything you need is provided by machines. You don't need money. You don't have to pay machines. Everything's available without a price tag. This puts an end to slavery and poverty and starvation. And it puts an end to theft. Right? If everything's available without a price tag, there's no reason to ever steal anything. There's nothing to steal. It's all made available to you. Right? This puts an end to most violent crime. Most violent crime is linked to poverty. Okay? The rest of it, the rest of the violent crime, rape, okay, that can be done away just by giving people a better education system. Right? Think about the education system we got in place right now. Well, I don't know what your education system was like. I know that when I was in school, I think a better way of describing it is it's not the education system, it's the subjugation system. Right? That's what it really is. Teaching kids how to follow orders and do what they're told. Had very little to do with teaching us relevant skills that would come in handy later in life. Teach us to be independent, survive on our own, have good social interactions, have good relationships, that sort of thing. Right? Had very little to do with teaching us how to pursue our interests, branch out into other fields, right? Have things to do, have passion, have to care about things, right? Don't get me wrong, I got some skills, right? Reading, writing, basic arithmetic, that's about it, right? Yeah, it's not doing enough. It doesn't go far enough, okay? I mean, we should be teaching kids how to properly court, date, seduce, and maintain healthy relationships. That way they don't get all bitter and pissed off and depressed and defeated and go off and rape someone. Alright? Alright, well, I think this is a sufficient introduction to the concept of a resource-based global economy. If you guys have any questions, I will not be at all surprised. I usually have to clarify some things when I talk to people about this stuff. But like I said, there's all sorts of videos you can watch. You can go to TheMindOfBrandon or whatever. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Maybe even share it with other people. If you're interested in watching my future videos, please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Don't know what I'm talking about in my next video, so leave suggestions down below. I hope to see you all then. Thank you for watching. Peace, and have a good one.